Deep in the murky depths of Connecticut's Gardner Lake is a house underwater. The lake is located approximately 7 miles west of Norwich, Connecticut, which was named for Stephen Gardner, a Rhode Island cattle farmer who moved to a plot of land on the north end of the lake in 1731. There, he and his wife Amy, they're currently interned on the homestead farm. The lake that bears their name is approximately 4.5 miles long, 7.25 kilometers long, and less at its widest point. The local Native Americans referred to it as Mashapang, which means big pond. Thomas LeCount, a local grocer, decided in February of 1895 that he wanted to move his home to the lake. When the LeCount family attempted to transfer their 2.5-story home from the south shore of Gardner Lake to a new spot on the lake's east side, the house collapsed. Instead of disassembling and reassembling it, they chose to wait until winter to tow the house across the lake. The home was moved using a way that made sense at the time, on skids with horses. The ice on the lake was 16 inches thick. That's 40.6 centimeters thick. And on February 13th, 1895, there was little doubt that it could not withstand the weight of the 28-ton LeCount home for its nearly half-mile trek over the ice. Men were employed, over a dozen draft horses were gathered, and the required cable and tackle were acquired. The house was raised on skids, runners that were simply placed below it. 18 horses painstakingly slowly slid the 28-ton, 25,400-kilogram house across the ice. They were about 100 yards or 91 meters from the south shore of the lake when the home slid into a large snowbank. Thomas was unable to stabilize the home without first cracking the ice. The house twisted and slipped off its skids at one point. Another dozen or so horses were brought in, each outfitted with special shoes to assist them in getting good grip on the ice, but even with the extra horsepower, the house could not be moved an inch. As evening approached, it was decided to leave the home as it stood for the night and return in the morning to tackle the issue. The Falls Mill in Norwich possessed lake water rights. Unaware of the house-moving endeavor, the dam was drained by significant volumes of water overnight because the mill was attempting to generate electricity to continue doing their work. This draining of the water created a gap between the ice and the water. And during the night, there was also a warm shower that partially melted the ice surrounding the house. And by daylight, the house started to lean in the direction of the massive kitchen chimney. Water started seeping up the walls, while other areas of the structure remained high and dry as the house pitched at a steep angle. The family hurried to save what they could, but because the weight or inaccessibility of some items, many things had to be abandoned, to include the family's beloved piano. The house remained there until spring, and as the ice melted, the house sank 15 feet, 4.5 meters, into the water. The second floor and attic stayed above the water for many, many years, sort of resembling a lighthouse to passersby. Eventually, the entire house and the LeCount family's belongings, including a cooking stove and their beloved piano, all plummeted to the bottom of the lake. Over the years, divers examined the submerged house, recovering pottery fragments, a door, a shotgun, roof shingles. But in the past 125 years, water and the elements have deteriorated the house's rotting timbers to the point where it doesn't appear to stand as a normal house would anymore. The roof has since collapsed. The chimney still stands firm. But divers have yet to find the family's beloved piano. It may still be down there underneath the collapsed roof or somewhere else. They're just not sure. The interesting point about this piano, though, is that fishermen still claim to hear musical notes drifting up to the lake's surface, allegedly from the piano in the living room. These are interesting things with JC.